What up, people? Push a Wild Black here with Push a Wild Black Sports. And this is the Bears Saints vlog. Bears lose 12-20 with the Saints. Bears played okay defense. They played better in the second half. They forced 2 fumbles by Ingram. One was literally taken away from Ingram. He actually had the ball. He actually had the ball ripped out of his hand because he was holding the ball with 2 hands, and the Bears ripped the ball from out of his hands. So that was awesome. And Mitch Trubisky had a chance to win the game. He threw an interception as the last play, the Bears' last play. I don't know exactly what he was looking at. They were saying in the game that it could have been the receiver's fault to where he ran the wrong direction, or he gave up on a route. I'm not exactly sure about that, but it is what it is. They actually let him throw the ball, which is something that the local media and myself have been clamoring for a while, because the offense is like run first, trick play, don't mess up. And in this situation, because they played at a deficit the majority of the game, you had to test your offense out. Now, the receiving core is still bad. Trey McBride made a couple of plays. I think he finished with 92 yards. So you almost had a 100-yard receiver today. And he did some really good things as far as stretching the field. I think that'll get better. The stretching the field and going down the field will get better once he gets acclimated into the system more, and once the receiver, and I can't think of that dude's name right now, the receiver we got from the Chargers a couple of days ago, they were saying that the reason why he wasn't out there was because even though he passed the physical, he's coming off of a hamstring injury. So with next week the Bears having a bye, there's 2 weeks of him coming here, learning the playbook and healing up a little bit before they put him out there. So the Bears did good. There were some situations where I would rather them run the ball when it was 3rd and 1 and they threw 2 pass plays. They threw 2 pass plays. The Saints got the ball. This is the series right before, if I remember correctly, this is a series right before the Saints got the ball, and then the ball was taken away by the Bears because of that Ingram fumble. Run the ball. You can run the ball. You can have Howard there. Heck, they need to employ the quarterback sneak or more quarterback draws with Trubisky. Trubisky ran for 46 yards. Let me see here. Rushing. No, 53. That 46-yard run for the first down was his longest, but he ran for 53 yards out of 3 attempts. I would not run him like Michael Vick and Cam Newton running him, but I would run him like on quarterback sneaks, where, because he's a big dude, where you need a couple inches, go ahead and run him a little bit to see if you can get a first down or something. I'm not mad at this game. This game was, look, this is a developmental year for the Bears. Mr. Trubisky is a project, and this is something that I wanted to speak on separately, but I might as well do it here, because there was some good things today. There were some bad things today. I really hope that the Zach Miller injury looks more worse than it actually is, because that's kind of a go-to guy for Mr. Trubisky. Heck, that's a go-to guy for the Bears. So Sims is also a go-to guy as a tight end. Maybe we could see Adam Shaheen a little bit with Zach Miller being hurt. But yeah, it's I'm really hoping that is isn't as bad as it looked. But this is a developmental season for the Bears. And I asked last week a question whether or not the Bears have a defense that can get them to the playoffs. Now, with Case Keenum playing as well as he's playing for the Vikings are probably going to win that division. Because they beat the Browns today. So I think it was the Browns. They won today, and they're gonna win that division. I think they're 6-2. So they're gonna win that division. Green Bay is still kind of because we don't know what Huntley's gonna do. We don't know what Detroit's gonna do. So the division is still up for grabs in theory, but I think Minnesota's going to end up winning that division. Do the Bears still have a defense that can lead them to the playoffs? Yes. Heck, the defense got them back in that game, and gave them a couple of opportunities to win the game. They couldn't convert. So that's what it is. Defense is still playoff caliber defense. The offense is still the way it is. But let me get back to my point about the developmental year. This is a developmental year for the Bears. And you didn't know what you had. You had an okay defense last year. The defense was proven, especially considering this team is injury-riddled. The defense is deeper than I thought they were going to be. And the actual safety and the actual secondary, the safeties and corners, they're better than I thought. I figured, I was saying at the beginning of the season, the rush is there. So it's always been the offense. The offense has always been, with Cameron Meredith being injured, the offense has always been a question mark. So, and with the quarterback situation, all these quarterbacks are projects. All of them. All the ones that got drafted. Mr. Trubisky was a project. Pat Mahomes was a project. Deshaun Watson was the most NFL ready, just because of reps and experience. Deshaun Kaiser was a project, and he was the of all of them, because he was the youngest one and the system that they ran, he was the most raw of all of them, and Mr. Trubisky was second. Mr. Trubisky had all the intangibles and all the talent, the measurables. He had all the measurables of a quarterback, but we didn't really know what he was. So on draft night, when they overdrafted him and they traded up to get him, I was like, okay. And I still feel that you could have easily drafted anybody else because everybody had talent. Mahomes had the best arm of the four guys drafted in the first 2 rounds. The guys that I just named, Mahomes had the best arm, and Deshaun Watson was the most NFL ready. The most upside was Kaiser and Trubisky, like 1 and 2, Kaiser and Trubisky. So when it was apparent that Glennon couldn't do anything, and you give the keys of the franchise to the kid, a lot of people was like, why isn't he throwing the ball? Why isn't he throwing the ball? Why are they running the ball? Why are they running the ball? The first couple games he started in, and they won. Like last week, everybody was like, why isn't he throwing the ball? And it's like, well, there's still a lot of stuff that he needs to learn. Plus, they don't have a receiving core. The receiving core is bad, and it's not that they have receivers that can stretch the field but can't catch. They have, and when I say stretch the field, I'm being generous. They have some receivers that can stretch the field a little bit. They can get some separation, but they can't catch the ball. Josh Bellamy is basically that receiver. You can stretch the field a little bit, but you can't catch, which is why you're not out there playing. And I think he dropped a pass that either that wasn't in the end zone or was close in the end zone. So you have a year where you know what you have defensively, but everybody's raw and developing and not completely healthy. You have an O-line that's a patchwork O-line. One's healthy there. You have honestly a project at starting QB that you paid money for in Glennon, who lost his job to Trubisky, which they could have started him right when the season started. But I get it. He was a project. So you want to get him as much time as you can before you just throw him out there. This was the first game where, because of the situation, they had to open up the offense a little bit. They had to see what they can do because they were playing in a deficit, and they had to, if not get in the game, stay in the game. This was a situation where even though the Bears couldn't take the lead, they were able to stay in the game because it wasn't like the offense was stagnant and they weren't able to move the ball. They were able to do some things. It's just Drew Brees in New Orleans was better. So this game does not make me mad. This game actually makes me happy because I can say that we're a couple of drafts away and no injuries. Because if they draft a wide receiver next year or a couple wide receivers next year in the draft, then the team looks different. The defense is already there. The quarterback is there. But you got to be able to get separation. And you got to be able to not necessarily get separation from, just downfield. You got to be able to make it to where even if it's a mid-range throw and it's not down the field, because you can dink and dunk. You can do small ball and throw for 200 yards. Glennon did it his first game. First two games Mike Glennon played in, he threw for 200 yards. And basically on a very, very basic, quick, small ball, dink and dunk offense. Trubisky doesn't really have to do that because he has a better arm. But the receiving core that they have now doesn't really get open on position either. They don't get open on position. They don't stretch the field. So if you can find anybody to stretch the field, the offense looks a little better. But this game doesn't make me mad. This game actually shows promise a little bit. We have a quarterback. We have a defense. The running game has been solid. They just got to use them efficiently. Everything was balanced, and like I said last week, they're moving away from Tariq Cohen being in the backfield as a secondary runner to Howard, where they're splitting carries. They're trying to figure out how to get him open in space. There was a couple of times today where he was in the backfield and he did get some touches, but they're moving away from them sharing the ball, so that helps a lot. But yeah, man, if the quarterback had a little bit more receiving help, then I think they would have won this game, because they slowed Breeze down. They slowed that offense down. It wasn't like it was a complete blowout or anything. The Bears have not been blown out since Trubisky's been a starting quarterback. Green Bay was an anomaly because Glennon was bad. But since that game, they haven't really been blown out that much. They've been able to stay in games because Trubisky isn't stupid. And I do agree with this. People are let him throw the ball, let him make mistakes. And the coaching staff is not wasn't letting him do that in the offense. This game they had to, and he threw that interception. I'm not mad at the interception. This is a year where not necessarily get those out of the system, but this is a year where you're trying to figure out how to be a quarterback. And if you can do that and throw a couple interceptions because you're trying to thread the needle because you think you can, or, a receiver messes up on a route, which I don't think that's what this last interception was. I think he just didn't know what he was looking at, and he just threw the ball in. I don't even know if it was coverage or not. He just threw the ball up in the air, and they jumped up and got it. There was a lot. By the way, there was a lot of batted balls too, for some reason today. It was like 3 or 4 batted balls today. But yeah, this is the year where, especially with a bad receiving core, and we don't even know if the coaching staff is going to be here after this year. This is a year where you kind of figure out like how to be a QB, like reading the defense and what are you seeing, and learning your checkdowns and stuff. So this is a throwaway year anyway. I still think that they might go 8-8. I'm still saying 6, but that defense will put that team in some games where you've already seen it. They've won games that they shouldn't have won on paper. So I still got this team going 6-10. If they go 8-8, that's a bonus. But don't know about the playoffs. We'll see. But I did enjoy the game. I did enjoy looking at it. I did enjoy watching Trubisky throw the ball, and they seemingly are opening up the offense a little bit more. So, but anyway, push the ball blackout. The Bears will be on a bye next week, so there's not going to be a Bears vlog. Don't know what I'm going to put in its place. The Bulls stuff will still be here, though, just because they play every other day. So, yeah. But maybe I'll do something special next week. But anyway, I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.